say to your constituents and voting rights advocates who are growing concerned if either bill isn't passed as we approach the 2022 midterm elections?
I feel sorry for those on the other side who didn't support this. You know, we're very clear. Our constituents understand where we are. Our constituents understand at all levels. They understand victory. They saw a black president elected because they voted and they stood in line for 5 to 7 hours to vote. You have heard the president himself say, thank you, Majority Whip Clyburn. Thank you, South Carolina. Thank you, black people, for voting overwhelmingly to elect him. That then got us our first female, black, Asian American vice president. Our people know that. Our people understand that. Who should be afraid are those who won't stand up for voting rights. So we're sending a clarion call, and you can print this. Shame on you for not doing it. Black folks will vote no matter what. So it's not what's going to happen to us. It's what's going to happen to them.
It's not what's going to happen to us. It is what's going to happen to them. You can print that. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty is chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. That was her speaking last week about the fight to pass voting rights in Congress and those who are on the wrong side of that vote and the wrong side of that history in her estimation. The passion you heard from her on that issue is not new. Since the beginning of the Biden administration, we have seen Congresswoman Beatty as one of the leading voices in Washington pushing to keep voting rights on the agenda, even when it wasn't at the top of the agenda. In July, you'll remember this footage. We showed it at the time. It was Congresswoman Joyce Beatty who led a group of civil rights leaders into the U.S. Capitol for a into a Senate office building and U.S. Capitol for a nonviolent direct action protest where they called on members of the Senate to end the filibuster and pass a pair of voting rights bills. Congresswoman Beatty was arrested that day, along with several of those civil rights leaders. This image is just indelible. Well, now today, as the nation honors the Martin Luther King holiday, on the eve of the Senate finally taking up voting rights legislation tomorrow, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty is once again at the front of the pack. She was at the march today with Dr. King's family in Washington to demand that the Senate deliver for voting rights. And she joins us live now. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Madam Chair, it's a real pleasure to have you here tonight of all nights. Thank you so much for making time.
No, thank you so much for asking me to be on your show. Today is a special day with the nation watching.
The nation is watching, and a lot of the nation, I think, is holding their breath about what's going to happen tomorrow. We played some words from Martin Luther King III from the march today, held under that banner, deliver for voting rights, deliver being the operative phrase there. Do you think that the United States will deliver? Are you optimistic about what's going to happen tomorrow?
I don't know exactly what will happen tomorrow. I know the nation is pained and frustrated because of what we've been going through. You know, we're looking at individuals who are not supporting reauthorizing the Voting Rights Act, and 4 Republican presidents in a bipartisan fashion reauthorized it. 5 presidents in our time have reauthorized it. So tomorrow, it will be on the United States Senate to do their job. The House, we voted on voting rights more than 3 times. This is not new for us, but tomorrow you will see us standing and watching as history will be made. And let me just say this, for all those who don't support the Freedom to Vote John R. Lewis Act, they're obstructionists. And it will be on their hands because our communities and all of those who know what we have to lose, especially Black and brown people, have so much to lose that they will react, but you won't keep us from voting. And the senators should be scared about that because we know we don't cheat when it comes to elections. We get out, we stand in lines, and no matter how they try to suppress the vote, Democrats and Black and brown Americans will vote.
You've talked about the Congressional Black Caucus as being the conscience of the Congress on issues like this and so many others. I wonder if you can give us a little window into their strategic thinking right now. I mean, the way that you have turned that question on its head, the way you just did right now, and the way we played that sound from you earlier speaking last week, talking about how people who are opposing this are on the wrong side, and they are the ones who need to worry about their futures in terms of how the politics of this will play out. I know that you are thinking about this in terms of 3 steps down the road, 5 steps down the road, 10 steps down the road. If things do fail tomorrow in the Senate, if Senator Manchin and Senator SINEMA decide that they want to be, they want to go down in history this way for this reason, is there a way, you know, under, over, or around that wall? Is there another way to approach it?
Well, you're absolutely right. We have been strategizing, and certainly, as you said, the Congressional Black Caucus has been a leader in this. 6 months ago, I got arrested. Other members have been out there marching, protesting, writing legislation, trying to work with those on the other side of the aisle and our 2 senators over there who are having some initial problems that they are having. They're for the voting rights. It is the big elephant in the room, the filibuster. But it reminds me of when Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and so many others were going across that Edmund Pettus Bridge. You know, they didn't cross it the first or the second time. They turned around and came back and strategized, but then there was Bloody Sunday, and they got it done. I am saying to you, we won't give up. We will go back, and we will go back, and we will get it right, because the Voting Rights Act must be reauthorized. So we'll go back and we'll recraft and we'll re-strategize, but we won't stop talking about it. We won't stop fighting for it. We won't give up. And so I am hopeful that we will get there. I am hopeful that we will have enough of the senators to do what's right. You know, someone said today, if we had state rights in Washington, D.C., we wouldn't have this problem because we would have 2 senators who would be voting with us. Well, we don't have that, but we will see what happens tomorrow. But there will be another tomorrow and another tomorrow.
Ohio Democratic Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, on Martin Luther King Day, on the eve of the historic debate coming up in the United States Senate on voting rights. Madam Chairman, thank you so much for joining us. It's really good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, we've got much more ahead here tonight. Stay with us.